I was afraid to speak in front of one person. Forget speaking in front of a group.
Hello, Darryl. Welcome.
What's going on, Patricia? I am psyched about being here.
Not half as much as I am about you being here, but I'm happy that you're psyched as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, doing excellently. I feel fantastic. I feel privileged. I feel blessed. So good to be here.
Yes, great.
How about you?
I'm very good, very, very happy. A lot of things going on right now, but I feel like I'm walking in my purpose and all that thanks to Toastmasters as well. So I'm very, very, very blessed right now as well. So
awesome. Awesome.
Yes. Okay. So I'm very excited to have you on the Break Time with Patty show. Dear friend at home, Darryl Pace is a speaker I came across while I was binge watching the World Championship of Public Speaking this past August 2021. When I started interviewing different award-winning speakers or Toastmasters members a few weeks ago, I thought to myself, I have to reach out to Darryl. And lucky for me and lucky for you at home, he gracefully agreed to come hang out with us. Who is Darryl Pace? I'm sure you want to know. He is an award-winning speaker, a senior information technology, IT consultant, a husband, and a father. Let me give you some background for viewers at home who are not part of the Toastmasters world. We had about 360,000 Toastmasters members worldwide in 2021. Approximately 30,000 contestants battled for the title of World Champion of Public Speaking, which is a title that transforms lives. Darryl has competed and won speaking contests at the club level, area level, division level, until he climbed to the top 8 during the World Championship. That is top 8 out of 30,000 outstanding speakers. I'm going to let that sink in. In addition, he has been featured as featured speaker at IT conferences, IT and sales industry associations, colleges, and networking events. And as an IT consultant, Darryl has worked and delivered solutions for a wide range of clients, including Fortune 500 companies such as AT&T, GE, and Verizon, as well as for numerous small and medium-sized businesses. Throughout his career, Darryl has been labeled a 5-star consultant who builds and maintains lasting customer relationships. Finally, he believes in the power of public speaking to create a win-win environment in which both the listener and the speaker are spurred to positive change. All right, I've talked enough. Let's get started. Darryl, can you please tell us a little bit more about the pre-Toastmasters Darryl as a young boy, a teenager, and an adult? What was it like to be in your sandals?
Thank you so much for the question, Patty, Patricia. And by the way, do you prefer Patty or Patricia?
You can call me whatever you want. Patty works. I love Patty. It's like my inner me. So call me Patty is good.
All right. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that question. I was very shy growing up. I was, and probably most people would say I still am, pretty quiet. I'm going to keep this focused on speaking since Toastmasters is a speaking organization. So a few events come to mind that would paint a picture of what I was like concerning speaking. When I was 16 years old, my dad came to me and he said, "Hey, Darryl, let's go for a ride." So he takes me to what turned out to be this meeting. And have you ever heard the Maya Angelou quote where she says, "People will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but people will never forget how you made them feel"?
Yes.
So I'm sitting in this meeting and I'm feeling like I'm in danger of being called on to speak. And so I'm sitting in the back going, "Please get me out of here without having to speak. If I get out of here without having to speak, I will never get myself in this situation again. And so I was afraid to speak in front of one person. Forget speaking in front of a group. And of course, in that meeting, as fate would have it, I got out without having to speak. Well, that kind of shyness or that hesitancy concerning speaking, that continued. I go to college and I'm studying engineering, and one of my courses was a technical communications course. And in that course, we had to give a speech in front of the class. The day of the speech, I called up my professor and I was like, oh, I feel horrible. It's no way I can speak. I can't do it. And Patty, I think I heard her eyes roll through the phone. She's like, okay, all right, Darryl, you can come to office hours. And so I spoke to my professor, just an audience of one. But again, I was afraid of speaking in front of one person. So that was hard. One last speaking event. After college, this whole thing's continuing. My parents were volunteering me or voluntolding me to do certain things. So my mom volunteered me to introduce a guy, a guest pastor at church. And I don't know if you've ever had something so terrifying happen that you kind of blank out, you don't remember it.
All the time. Well, before, when I was younger, all the time.
I remember walking up to the podium. I don't remember anything after that. I remember sitting down. I remember the audience laughed at some point. I don't know if they were laughing at me or with me, but I was terrified, horrified of speaking. And that was me before Toastmasters. My dad at one point later took me to see a speaker. At this point, I had graduated college, gone on to start working. And my dad took me to see a speaker. It was legendary coach Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt was the women's basketball coach for the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, Tennessee. Greatest coach I would say they've ever had. And anyway, in this talk, she was addressing business people. It was a room of business people. I remember she had them laughing. She had them all, into the talk. And I left there and I thought, man, that was awesome. That's something that I think in my wildest dreams, I would like to do. And so that kind of planted a seed, seeing Pat Summitt speak. That's my pre-Toastmasters Darryl.
That's amazing. First of all, I love you, Daddy. Bravo, Daddy. I hope he's still with us.
He is.
Yes, say hi to him for me, please.
Daddy,
seeing your weaknesses, I guess, and wanting to push you forward, bravo, Daddy, bravo.
Yeah.
I love him. And I absolutely know that feeling when you see somebody that really inspires you. And at least I'm happy that Pat Summitt planted that seed. Thank God for the world. Okay, which leads me to my next question then. So once that seed was planted, what was at that point, how old were you, Darryl?
I was in my early 20s.
Okay, perfect. At that point, what made you decide to go visit a Toastmasters club for the first time then? Okay.
As I stated, I was afraid to speak. I was shy, and that wasn't helping me at all. It was holding me back, I think, at work. It was holding me back in what was the most important area of my life back then in my early 20s. And that was with the ladies. I was afraid to talk to them, right? So I decided to go to a Dale Carnegie course. I took a Dale Carnegie course. Yeah, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But it kind of gave me what I describe as helium balloon confidence, where it blew me up while I was in the club. But when I left the club, it was like, it left me. That confidence boost that it gave me left me. So I started thinking, I was like, man, what can I do? And I thought, what was that meeting that my dad took me to a long time ago? What was it? What was it? Was it Master? Was it Toastmasters? It was Toastmasters. So I looked up Toastmasters. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I joined the Dogwood Toastmasters in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's how I got my start.
Oh, I love to hear those stories. I never get tired of hearing them, how a champion got started. Okay. I must say that, as I said, while I was binge watching the World Championship, while I was sick, I was supposed to travel to out west in Canada, but I got sick, so I was literally trapped in my house. So it was I had to either binge watch Netflix or binge watch the World Championship of Public Speaking. I chose the championship. Your speech, Sho-Mo-Toe, Darryl, was one of my favorites. I had a list of a few speakers that I was cheering for, and you were one of my top 3. Because you were all outstanding speakers, but some different speakers speak to you differently, right? Where their message resonates in a particular way. So you were one of them. I watched Sho-Mo-Toe on repeat. It was so funny and so clever. The role playing, the different voices, the intonations, the innuendos, your insanely creative props were simply sublime. It was brilliant. Please go watch it. Make yourself a happy person. And watching your speech dramatically improved the one I was working on at the time. It was titled, What's Wrong With You? And it has impacted my delivery for that speech and forever. Like, I'll never look at role playing the same way ever again. And the way that you depicted some of those exchanges between you and your nephew or you and your wife will forever be integrated into my speeches whenever there's an exchange, any form of exchange going on. I'm going to use your technique. Thank you so much. But I digress. If I think of your speeches, Sho-Mo-Toe and Gold, you share such a powerful message of perseverance and hope. That's my kind of message. Can you share with us, how do you find your themes, your stories, and also what motivates you to share such inspirational and uplifting messages with your audience?
Yeah. So let's see. One of my speaking heroes, a professional speaker, said that you get your best speech material from your firsts, your flaws, your frustrations, and your failures. When I heard that, and this has been several years ago since I've heard that, but when I heard that, I thought about my toe. At the time, I had not really shared my toe publicly. I still kind of kept it under wraps. So I thought, man, it'd be really cool, I think, if I got over that feeling of self-consciousness concerning it, and it might be inspiring for people to hear about it. My toe, I thought, was a flaw. So that speaker saying that you get your best speech material from your first, your flaws, your frustrations, and your failures, that was why I started with the toe. As far as Gold is concerned, Gold is about a speech debacle that I had where I froze up in a contest. It was in the World Championship. I didn't make it to the World Championship. I was at the area level, but I was in a packed theater. It was crowded. It was a multi-area contest, and I forgot my speech, and my brain went into, there's like a reptile mode where you just freeze up, and it's kind of a fight or flight thing, and you can't remember. I stuck there and couldn't move on. So that was the first time that happened. It showed, in my opinion, some flaws in my preparation. It was absolutely frustrating, and it was a total failure. So I was like, okay, that checked all the boxes. That might make a good speech. And so that's where Gold came from. Also, in addition to that, in addition to the first flaws, frustrations, and failures being kind of the source or the idea of where I get my speech inspiration, I also think this is something that I am supposed to do. I love speaking, and I think that when you do something that you like to do, that you want to do, that's productive, like Patty Pat's journey, you are doing what you are meant to do. This is my opinion. I also think that when you do what you're meant to do, you share your gift, it creates ripple effects, and different people are touched by it. One real quick story. When I was in the 6th grade, there was a kid that brought a magazine to school. It was called Muscle Builder Power, which later became Muscle and Fitness, a bodybuilding magazine. So from him bringing that magazine to school, I was like, man, I want to be a bodybuilder. And I started lifting weights back then. Lifting weights, of course, took me to the gym. I continued lifting weights over the years, and I wound up helping a lot of my friends to work out and to lose weight. I wound up meeting some lifelong friends at the gym. I wound up meeting my wife at the gym. And of course, we have 3 kids. 2 of them lift weights. That's probably as a result of what I used to really be into it. I'm not so much anymore, but they lift as a result of probably my influence. I have nephews that lift as a result of my influence. And all this happened because, if you think about it, it's because a kid brought a magazine to school when I was in 6th grade. So all these people are touched by this because of that one thing. When you do what you are supposed to do, what you're meant to do, what you want to do, you will touch lives. One last real quick example of that. My parents used to force me to go to vacation Bible school. I didn't want to go. I wanted to chill out and relax for the summer. But we went to vacation Bible school, and one time in passing, the vacation Bible school teacher says, hey, you know, when people read the Bible, they turn out to be good people. And that stuck in my head. I thought, I want to be a good person. So I started reading it. That was because, and it changed my life, really. That was because of this passing comment that this teacher made. So when we put ourselves out there, when we put our gift or whatever out in public, different people will be touched by it. And I think we're serving our purpose by that, and it creates ripple effects. And that's another reason why I like to share these stories and speak in public.
Oh. Sorry, I get very excited about very little things, but actually not little, it's very, very big. Thank you so much. You inspire me beyond measure. So thank you so much for this. I'm going to backtrack a little bit then, because now, okay, so you were this shy boy, teenager, young adult. You joined Toastmasters. So at that point, you're Toastmasters member. What made you decide to start competing? Because it takes a lot of courage to just say, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. So what was it in between?
I talked about that club in Atlanta, Georgia that I joined, the Dogwood Toastmasters. After I had been there for about a year, one of the members says to me, hey, Darryl, you should compete in the contest. I said, oh, okay. I thought there's no way I'm doing that. And I didn't. Well, we stayed there at that club or in Atlanta for a few more years. We wound up moving to Nashville. When we got to Nashville, I joined a club called the Franklin Toastmasters. At that club, after I'd been there for about a year, another member said, hey, Darryl, you should enter the speech contest. I said, she said, no, seriously, you should enter. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I did. And it turned out to be one of the most enriching experiences of my adult life, getting into the contest and competing. And it taught me a lesson. If you feel that you do something well, if you feel you have a talent, if someone tells you that you should do something or perhaps explore something, it probably is something you should look into, because it might be life-changing for you.
Yes, yes. It's been 7 months now. I joined Toastmasters in May. And I do get those people in my club or clubs I visit that tell you should enter, you should enter. But right now, I cannot right now, but as soon as I can, the next one I will be joining in, because right now I have 2 channels, the Toastmasters journey and the spiritual journey. And it's just, I have a few messages that have to come out. So that's my priority. I'm not even practicing my pathway speeches. So anyway, but I will, because now talking to you and other Toastmasters, I'm realizing I really want to do it. And even if I fail and I break my face, I want to do it. I want to do it at least once. So yes, thank you for this.
Awesome.
For the Toastmasters members watching this, how many times did you have to practice the speech Sho-Mo-Toe before you made it to the world stage? You have like an approximate rough number.
Wow. Hundreds. So Sho-Mo-Toe was developed 2 years ago, the first iteration of it. And that actually is the speech that I froze up on at the area level 2 years ago. I continue to work on it and repeat it for that next year. I did gold the following year. The contest year, this year, I continue to say it. I made some refinements to it. I had to refine it. Once you start entering the contest, your skills are going to grow and you can look back at what you've done and you'll go, okay, I need to improve this in this way and this way and this way. So anyway, I changed it a lot and I wound up rehearsing it, I would say maybe 200 or 300 times, a lot of times, lots of times.
But where? Who? I know my daughter with my little speeches, she got fed up of my, they're like, okay, all right, again. So where did you practice this?
I practiced in front of my wife, my kids. I went around to different clubs. By the time I started the speech this year, back in January of this year, I knew it was going to work because I had spoken the speech. I spoke to my sister. I spoke to my wife's cousin. I did this speech in front of tons of people, and I would rehearse it myself to Zoom and watch the recordings. So when I say 200 or 300 times, it's because that includes these times I would record it on Zoom, watch it back. I would send it to different people to get feedback. And because I had all this feedback, I knew that speech would work. I knew it would.
Oh, that speech was a classic. I think I'm going to go watch it again after we're done with this. It's just so good. Okay. Can you share with us the emotional roller coaster that you must have gone through when you found out that you made it through the first championship round? Were you expecting to make it through the final 8? And just as a reminder, out of 30,000 contestants.
I thought that there was a decent chance it would make it just because of feedback I had gotten from some other people, some past world champions. So I thought there was a decent chance. I wasn't sure. You never can tell. But as far as the emotional roller coaster is concerned, the night before I found out I was going to make it to the finals, I was working on my final speech and I got a phone call. I wasn't paying attention to anything except for that final speech. I got a phone call and I pick it up and they say, congratulations, oh, we're so proud of you. You won, you're going to the world championship. This was one of my home clubs. I hung the phone up, and when I hung it up, a whole bunch of text messages came through. Congratulations, the balloons and all this other stuff. And one message said, how does it feel to be in the top 8 out of 30,000 contestants? And I was like, man, it feels terrifying. And the reason why it was so terrifying for me, I need to back up about a month from there. A month prior, I was waiting to see if I had made it to the semifinals. So I get the email that says, okay, congratulations, Toastmaster Pace, you've made it to the semifinals. I go to my wife and I'm like, yes, I made it to the semifinals. I had not gotten past that level before. And by the way, this is my 6th time entering the contest this year. So I had not made it to the semifinals before. I go to my wife, I'm like, yes, made it to the semifinals. Okay, I have to get this final speech together. I have to get it together. So I start thinking, okay, what am I going to do for my final speech? And I go back and forth, and this is about 4 weeks out. And I haven't really made up my mind 4 weeks out. 3 weeks out, I'm going, okay, I think I'm going to do this. No, I think I'm going to do that. I was like, have you ever seen a squirrel in the middle of the street, how they're going back and forth, trying to figure out which way they're going to go? That's what I was like concerning my final speech. We get 2 weeks out. I still hadn't fully decided. 1 week out, I go, okay, I'm just going to do this speech. I'm going to go with that. We get to the night before, and I'm in a literal panic. So before I knew that I was going to make it to the, the world championship, I was feeling so much stress. I cannot put it into words. I'm feeling tremendous stress. I get the phone call. I'm like, oh my gosh, I made it to the world championship. So that was what I was feeling. Now I get the call, the lights go out, the power goes out. It's pitch black. I walk outside and I look up and I see the stars and stuff. And I'm like, okay. I say a prayer. I say, okay, you created all this. Can you do me a huge favor and just make it so tomorrow I don't make a fool out of myself? That was my prayer. And, you know, so my world championship speech, it is one where I feel like I didn't have that. I hadn't prepared myself, like with Sho-Mo-Toe, for example. I wish that I had done the same for that speech as I had done for Sho-Mo-Toe. So anyway, that's the emotional roller coaster ride I went through. Excitement after finding out I'd made it to the semifinals. Terror when I found out I made it to the world championship, but thankful. I was thankful I made it. And you know, some of the good things that have come out of that, I get to speak on Patty Pat's journey. I'm thrilled about that. And yeah, it's opened up a lot of speaking opportunities for me. So I'm very grateful for having made that world stage.
So grateful. It is a huge accomplishment. I don't know if people really appreciate like top 8. So this brings me to my next point here. There's a lot of hype that goes towards the top 3 winners, just like in the Olympics, for example.
Yes.
Particularly the world champion, obviously, that person eclipses everyone else by default. Even like the number 2, number 3, they become almost irrelevant, like because the spotlight is all on the number 1, which is a bit unfortunate because all of the 30,000 should be celebrated. 30,000 out of 360,000. But you know, this is how it is, right? You can't have, like, there are only so many gold medals, right?
Right.
My question to you is, what advice can you share with a future Toastmasters contestant to help them on their journey to become world champion of public speaking? Like something you wish someone would have told you.
Well, one thing that comes to mind immediately is if you're going to enter and you feel that you can make good progress, have your 2 speeches, at least know what you're going to be doing for that second speech. That's a big one. And when I enter again, I will definitely make sure I have that second speech. The other things that have, I think, helped me are, 1, speak from the heart. And let's see, speak to attempt to benefit your audience. Keep your audience in mind. Be really audience focused. How is your message going to help the listener? And make that your aim. You want to help people. You want the lessons you've learned, they've benefited you. You want to share them with people in the hopes that somebody out there can make use of that message and that it will benefit them. So audience focus and speak from the heart and have your 2 speeches. That's my advice.
Duly noted. Thank you, Darryl. If there's someone watching us right now, a parent, a business owner, an employee, a teenager, who doesn't see any value or relevance in joining a public speaking group such as Toastmasters, what would you like to tell them, Darryl?
I would like to tell them that the Toastmasters experience is one of the greatest, in my opinion, that a person can get involved in. And the reason I say that is because I think that we human beings have actually the potential to have or develop 2 superpowers. 2 superpowers. One is communication skills, because with great communication skills, you can move people, and that's huge. The second is confidence. If you can combine confidence with communication skills, you can accomplish pretty much anything that you want. Toastmasters helps us to develop those two superpowers. So if you want to build a business, improve in your career, move up, touch the life of a child, or communicate effectively with your spouse, Toastmasters helps in all of those ways. It's a great organization. I can't recommend it highly enough. I think that Toastmasters is a wonderful, wonderful organization. That would be my message to anyone who thinks that they couldn't benefit from Toastmasters.
Yes, I concur, sir. Toastmaster Pace, yes, 100%. What is the next step for Darryl Pace?
Next steps. I'm going to continue honing my speaking skills. Have a lot of speaking engagements coming up in 2022. I am also planning on going back to school. I want to study what moves people to change. So probably I'm going to study psychology. In addition, I am working with a business partner on a project called standingospeaker.com. Once I finish that, I'm going to be concentrating on helping technical professionals to speak better, both one-on-one and with groups. Because, you know, as techies, we like to communicate just with the computer screen, and that's it. So I'm going to be helping guys like me and other techies to get out there and speak better and more effectively to individuals as well as to groups. Those are my next plans.
How exciting. Well, I'm following you on social media, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you'll be unleashing into the world. Finally, if someone in the audience would like to reach out to you for your services or anything at all, how can they reach you?
They can reach me at Darryl@standingospeaker.com or darrylvpace@gmail.com.
Perfect. And everything, all the information will be in the description below. So make sure to take note of this, everyone. So to wrap it up, Darryl Pace is a passionate man who loves his family and endeavors to give back to the community by helping individuals professionally and in their personal lives gain the communication and the leadership skills that they need to become the best in their fields. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Darryl?
Yeah, there's a quote from, I told you I like bodybuilding, or I did anyway. And of course, as getting into bodybuilding, bodybuilders lift weights, and when they get a weight, they'll lift it for a certain number of repetitions and they put it down. When they're lifting and you do repetitions consecutively, it starts to make your muscle burn, it aches. And of course, that reminds me of a quote. One of my favorite bodybuilders back in the day was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger said, concerning those reps you do and that pain you feel, he said something like, the last 3 or 4 reps are what divide that area of pain. That's what makes you grow. The last 3 or 4 reps divide the also ran from the champion. The person that can put up with the pain can make it to be a champion. He also said, everything in life, there are no shortcuts. Everything is reps, reps, reps. So I've been in the contest 6 times, and concerning the contest and everything else, I'm going to keep on trying. And so my parting message to anyone who wants to accomplish anything, there are going to be the ups and downs as you're making your way toward whatever that goal is. Keep on putting in the reps, because the area of pain is what makes the champion. If you can get through it, keep on with the reps. Everything is reps, reps, reps.
Yes, yes, well received. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Darryl. What a pleasure it has been to talk with you.
Thank you for having me, Patty. I really appreciate it. It's a privilege.
Yes, I feel really, really privileged. And my YouTube friend at home or wherever you are, thank you for watching. I hope that getting to know this wonderful man has touched you as much as it has touched me. And I will leave you with this. The power of your voice can change the world. Find it and use it. Until next time. Bye.